Happy Friday, everybody. And here we are again with another edition here of News from the Frontlines, DW Huff Consulting, where we help you know your numbers. So I guess one interesting number I saw today, something popped up on one of my many news feeds here. And I guess another indication is how lucky we all are to be just here alive. It's in the number statistic that I saw, is they looked back, they went back like 10 generations and figured out how many people had to meet, get married, do whatever, and conceive, and have children in order for us to be alive here. And for one of us to be alive, I've said, the first generation, and just thinking about it, carrying through, you go to your parents, it's two people and grandparents and so on and so forth. But most people have been around for a while, and if you go back like 6 generations, so you go back to your great grandparents, that means that 62 people had to have randomly met and came together in order for you to individually be here right now. So, and in every generation it goes back, it goes up exponentially. So, I don't know, interesting numbers there. But so, I just saw that and caught my attention. Well, as far as our business news goes here, on the personal side, so this is not necessarily a business issue, but you may have saw some news articles and things of that nature where a new round of stimulus checks is going out. So some people are a little bit confused when they see that, thinking that there may be another round going on. So, and what it really is just a kind of a correction of prior rounds. So as IRS is now reviewing these tax returns that have been filed and comparing things from 2020 to 2019, there are some cases where maybe if you had a child in 2020 or if something happened with the dependency status where you now should have been eligible for a return, and they might, for eligible for one of the economic stimulus payments, but they didn't give it to you because the initial rounds all went out based on 2019 data. They are now kind of processing these figures here and going back and I guess truing up the amount to what it really should have been. So there is no new stimulus. This is just basically a correction of stimulus that's already been issued. So just wanted to make sure we kind of clarified that. Also, since we are getting kind of close to June here for our businesses, we definitely you'll be hearing from us as we want to kind of revisit some of our planning. So we always emphasize knowing your numbers, and as part of that is creating a budget for your business and setting some goals and kind of seeing how you are. So mid-year is as good a time as any to see what kind of progress you've made, what kind of things you can correct and adjust, and if you can change some things in your business to hit your numbers if you're off target. That's the kind of things we'd want to look at. So I know in our house here we have a bunch of things to adjust because that's how it is. As the year goes on, I find that the numbers never really work out exactly as you planned in January. So there's got to be either a change in your marketing plan or how you price your services or some other changes usually. So mid-year gap planning, so goal attainment planning is I think what our worksheet is. Our worksheet is titled. So definitely now is the time to kind of revisit that. Another issue that's been coming up. So we see I guess more on the personal planning and tax side, as you probably have seen, home sales are really high right now. I just looked at a statistic from the National Association of Realtors here, and they kind of track the home price index and a few things of that nature. And as it is now, prices have always been high within the next couple of years, but now we're looking at about an 11%, a little bit over 11% change in their index. So that same house you had that was worth $200,000 last year is worth $221,000 now, which is 11% gain. So 20,000-ish of gains just by holding onto the property for a year. And we are hearing a lot of stories about a lot of cash offers going through, and just how homes don't stay on the market very long. So this prices increase is probably going to continue for a while. So the question has come up, how does it affect me tax-wise? So just to recap those rules, if you're selling your primary house, most cases you're not going to have a problem because the first, if you're married, filing jointly, and you've been living in the house for over 2 years, your first $500,000 of capital gains is not going to be taxed at all on the house. So a lot of, most people are going to fall in that category. But if you've been in the house for a long time and there's a lot of appreciation built in, you might have some capital gains above the 500,000. So be conscious of that. Other people have also, in discussion with us as we're doing some of our planning here, have said, "Well, man, I'm seeing all these gains in my house. Why don't I sell it now and take some of that money off the table?" And I guess one note here is when you look at this 11% increase number, it's pretty consistent geographically. So what I'm getting at is if you sell your house and you got an 11% increase in it, what are you going to do with that money? You still got to live somewhere, right? So you now have to go buy another house that's also inflated by 11%. So you know, unless you downsize and are changing something dramatically in maybe the size of your house, or dramatically changing a location where you have a chance to go somewhere where the values aren't as inflated, you're going to end up just being in the same boat you're on, a different house. So be cautious of that, because I think a lot of people they see these values. They see the house up the street getting sold for $50,000 more than they thought it was worth, and all of a sudden they think, man, I could cash out. But the next step in that whole analysis is that, what are you going to do with the money? So if you got to buy another house, you're going to buy another overpriced house, and it just doesn't you don't get ahead unless you're cashing out completely. So be aware of that. So that's it for this week, guys. So I hope everybody had a good week, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but I know we had a rough week here, and I'm just saying some advice that somebody gave me a while back, and they said, things are getting rough, and don't quit. So whoever needs to hear that, don't quit. I think everybody's had some more rough weeks here and there. We're no exception. So with that, get out there and have a good weekend, and I'll see y'all next week.